Welcome back, everybody, to our second edition of sports. Today, we're going to be talking some football. With me, so far, as always, is the judge, the jury, and the executioner, fake news, Patrick Novosel.
Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Also joining us, it's going to be a regular thing now. This is kind of like now you have like an auxiliary spot on the show. Like you're part of the U now. You're in it. We got Easy E, Eric, on with us as well.
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be here. Glad to be back.
What is up? Okay, so I did not want to have a sports show after the first week. And it's because the Bengals got dominated. Well, they barely lost, but they got beat.
They lost in overtime as time expired.
To not a good team. Yeah, and since this is my show, I can just say it. Like, the Steelers are not a good team. Like, I don't care what anybody says. The team with Mitchell Trubisky as your quarterback starting, you're not going to go that deep. That's just the way it is. But obviously, they were better than the Bengals. So what are we going to say?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. There's nothing we can do. And they lost again in week 2, which was horrible also, and pretty much equally as bad. And finally, this past week, we got to win. We're finally there.
Finally in the win column.
I feel like as a Bengals fan, because of our history of just being like awful, I was automatically, we're at 0-2. I was like, we're going to lose 10 games. Like, it's going to be a disaster. We're going to lose 10 games. It's something only the Bengals would do.
Entered panic mode right away.
Immediately. Like, this is, you know what? I can't believe they fooled me again. That's what I was thinking. But no, they came out and this past Sunday, they played the Jets, and, man, we had a regular old boring Sunday again. They were in control the whole time. The game was pretty boring, but that's the way I like it.
I'm not used to the boring old games that
I was about to fall asleep during this game.
Oh, man.
I barely yelled at the TV. Like, it was nice.
I couldn't have been more excited. I could
me too.
More excited.
That's exactly what
I was texting you play-by-play. I called you after the first drive. I'm like, Ronnie, this is it. This is what we've been waiting on. 2 weeks. It only took forever to get here. 9 quarters.
Historically, they do get better as the season goes on. So
true.
I will say at least Joe Burrow gets better as the season goes on.
Yeah.
And there's no way that the offensive line could not get better as the season goes on because they've been awful. All right. So now that we get our Bengals rant out of the way, we're going to have to get that probably in at the beginning of every show. If you don't like it, well, we don't like you.
I mean, not wrong.
Today we got a couple things. The first thing I want to talk about is surprises so far through 3 weeks. I want you guys each to give me a team that's been a surprise.
Okay.
And a player, if you got one of those. If not, whatever. We're also going to do our letdowns so far. So that'll be the next category for a team and a player. And then after that, a player or team that, man, I can never figure out how to say this. They are who we thought they were was what I have. So we're just going to say it like that. So, Patrick, I'm going to have you go first.
Yeah.
What team has surprised you so far this year?
The first team for me is Miami Dolphins. I did not expect them to be undefeated after 3 games. The way that, I knew that they were going to have a little bit of a threat with Tyreek Hill on offense, and they have Waddle as well, who was a 1,000-yard receiver last year. So having that receiving core, they're running some sets that allows them to go downfield and opens up a lot of stuff in the middle for Tua. And it's just seeing them. They've won pretty handedly, and I'm not used to that.
Good teams too,
and
like,
they beat
good teams.
They did. Did they beat the Bills?
They beat the Bills, yeah.
They beat the Bills, and the Bills are 2-1 now. And the only loss, the Bills have like a plus 60 point differential, and they have one loss, which is
that game was like I don't know, it was like the humidity level or whatever it was, but it was really crazy hot that game. Buffalo played in Miami, and a lot of people think that might have had something to do with it. They just looked like they were dying out there because it was so gross.
Yeah. Both
Also could have been from him throwing the ball a million times.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you're throwing 62 times, it's your arm's probably going to get tired, especially when it's hot and humid. But one of those wins was against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, they came back in that too
at Baltimore.
28 points in the fourth quarter.
So to do that, just seeing like Tua was an okay quarterback. He's more than mediocre. But just to see what he's done so far for the Miami Dolphins has been nothing more than surprising. He was not on my fantasy radar. The Miami Dolphins weren't on my radar at all. I'm like, it's just like, it's like if you live outside of Cincinnati, you're like, okay, Cincinnati is who we thought they were. They're a team that's always going to suck. And last year's Super Bowl team was just a fluke. That's what people think outside of Cincinnati. That's what I think of when Miami Dolphins, not living in Miami, is they're a team that is a guaranteed win every week, every time you play them. Not this year, just the way they look.
Very different.
Yeah. And they're putting up a pretty good defense. I mean, they only gave up 7 points in the first week. They only gave up 19 points to the Bills. 19. Like that is with how high powered the Bills are. They're surprising all the way around. Who's their running back?
They actually look like they are just faster than the other teams.
Chase Edmonds, by the way.
Yeah, Chase Edmonds, like that doesn't even. I don't even know what his stats are, but it's nothing compared to the rest of the offense.
Well, I was watching the stats for the play-by-play for this game when they were playing the Bills, and like some of the touchdown passes, like from Tua, it's like, how is Tyreek Hill still 10 yards wide open in the NFL? How in the world does that happen? Like his receivers are like wide open.
So quick.
That's unbelievable.
I'm looking at Chase Edmonds the rushing for 3 games. Chase Edmonds has 23 rushes for 79 yards. And then Mostert, which is the backup running back, has 24 attempts, one more than Chase at 78 yards. The highest
How many
rusher,
rushing yards does Tua have?
Tua, he has 4 rushes for 1 yard.
Not what I expected at all.
It is wild. They are an air it out offense. And it's crazy because I see Tua back there and he's throwing the ball and it looks like it is a slow motion wind up, like a Tim Tebow kind of wind up. And it looks like he's trying his hardest to throw. But he throws it on a dime. He's throwing 70%. I mean, like if your quarterback is throwing 70%, then your team is going to be doing pretty good. And that shows in their 3-0 start.
Yeah, highest completion percentage in the league, only 0.1 higher than Josh Allen. But just to add a little bit to that before we move on to either Ronnie or myself, one of the predictions that you said prior to week 1, Pat, just talked about how good the Bills were. What was it? You said that they're going to score 30 points a game, or they're going to win by 30 points a game, and they won 31-10 week 1, and they won with 41-7 against the Titans.
Yeah,
who were in the one of the strongest AFC contenders last year. And man, the Bills are so good, and the Dolphins just played so good against them. They have so much speed on the offense, and the Bengals have a real challenge tomorrow night. And we may end up on another 2-week hiatus, depending on how bad it goes.
We may never have the show again.
Yeah, it's going to be scary. The Dolphins and at the Bengals are going to be wearing their new white jerseys, their new white helmets. It's going to be a whiteout down at on Thursday night prime time. It's going to be interesting. I do not have a good feeling that they're going to put up a good game against Miami. The way Miami's been playing, it's wild.
And that's the thing. We're so unsure this early in the season. Like we're not. I mean, even though the Bengals won this past week, like that doesn't mean they've put everything together.
Yeah, I mean, we
still don't definitely know who they are.
Yeah, we're not even 20% into the year yet. There's still another 12, 13, 14 games left in the season. So
15.
it's still a long season. So so we'll see. But they have been a big surprise so far.
Yeah, they really have. They're like dominating the like talk shows and stuff like that this week in football. I know a lot of people are excited, and I am too. Like, it's got the makings of a really good game, the Thursday night game with the Bengals and the Dolphins. So definitely looking forward to that. But I am a little nervous too. So I definitely feel that.
Pat, is Tua your surprise player?
Yeah, I mean, like, if I outside my other surprise player is Waddle. I mean, like, I know he was 1,000-yard receiver and but he already has like 350 receiving yards already. Yeah. I mean, based on what Tua's doing, he throws a Tyreek Hill and he throws to Waddle. That's all he throws. I think they have like 700 of his 950 yards are going to those two players. So
and they're all wide open 70 yards down the field.
They're almost always wide open. Both of them. Like, I don't even know how that happens.
I don't know.
Did you see Tyreek Hill calling out Eli Apple? He was saying, "Eli Apple, I'm coming for you." He's like, "I want a piece of Eli Apple because of all the talking that Eli Apple did at the end of last year with how things went with Kansas City in the playoffs."
Hey, man, when you beat the Chiefs twice in 1 year, you can say whatever you want.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but no, I would say the offensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins is a winner. That really those outside of the running game, they are crazy good. And yeah, Tua is a huge thing. Like, yeah, Tua was okay last year, but my goodness, whatever they did this offseason, I mean, yeah, they added Tyreek Hill. That is a huge boost to your offense and a really good weapon for you when you already have some weapons. But the play calling has been fantastic for them. I don't know of anybody else that has really, really surprised me because he was not on my radar at all. Tua was not on my radar. Even though they threw Tyreek Hill, it's like you could, no matter if, like, for example, Josh Fields for the Bears. Like, I think they're 2-1, and he has Justin Fields. Yeah, they're 2-1. He has like -11 passing yards. Like, this guy does not have. It's very weird, very weird.
No, he seems to be like, just really smart with the ball too. Like, he's not turning the ball over. I mean, it looks like he's playing a little bit erratic just because of the style of play or whatever. But like, I'd associate it more of like a Russell Wilson style, scrambling like that.
Yeah. So yeah, Tua is my surprise player so far this year.
It'll be interesting to see about halfway through the season if anybody's talking about the Dolphins if they keep this up, because the NFL is one of those, like, it's one of those things where if the Dolphins, let's hope, they get beat really bad on Thursday by the Bengals, like, everybody would be like, nope, fluke, they're the Dolphins again, like, immediately. Just dismiss them. So
yeah,
I think the one way that would be possible, because Tua right now, he's questionable. So I think the one way is that he doesn't end up playing, and whoever their backup quarterback is that Cincinnati will probably make look like an all-star.
How did he make it into the game? How did Tua make it back into the game last week? Did you guys see him fall down?
Yeah, dude.
He got concussed, then got up and went down again. He couldn't even stand up. Somehow got back onto the field that game.
So he's questionable for back and ankle injury.
Yeah, I heard that.
Apparently, he was never evaluated within concussion protocol, which to me, it's like, he was shaking his head and he was doing, various things that are like,
he looked like he just got knocked out.
He got his bell rung. Let's probably check him out. And then he was right back in there and finished the game up. And so I guess, I hope he's okay. Maybe it wouldn't hurt if he sat out this week. It wouldn't hurt the Bengals. But hey, he's been great so far. And it's been nice to watch.
Yeah, they are fun. Eric, who do you got? Who is your surprise this year?
So in terms of teams, Philadelphia just looks insane. The Eagles look so good.
They do look ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like they got Mike Vick back.
Right? Man. Yeah, in his peak, in his prime.
They are prime time athletes. Like, they just look like they're more athletic. You know what I mean?
Maybe not prime Vic, but good.
Yeah.
But
his stats His stats, though, I mean, they're pretty good.
He was insane. I mean, he's definitely, he's definitely in the top 5 conversation for MVP, and I think it's easy to make an argument that he's number one. Just looking through his Jalen Hurts stat line, he's not my surprise player, but looking through his stat line, 916 yards, 9.4 yards per attempt, 98 attempts, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick.
Only 98 attempts.
Only 98 attempts. I mean, AJ, what was his? Is it AJ Brown is his receiver?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
AJ Brown being his number 1 receiver. He had Devontae Smith hadn't had a great season up until last week. Devontae Smith, he's got a lot of talent around him. Miles Sanders is, I think, very underrated in general as a running back. But man, the Eagles have looked good. Their defense is looking good. Their offense is looking phenomenal. I think, just an incredible team. They haven't lost yet this year.
No, they're 3-0.
2-1.
Yeah,
no, they're 3-0. Yeah.
How about that?
They beat Detroit, Minnesota, and Washington. So it's not like the best teams, so far. But they put a whooping on Minnesota and Washington.
Didn't Detroit they put it all over somebody like a week or two ago?
I mean, they beat the Lions 38-35 in week 1. The Eagles did. So they put up some numbers.
What about a player?
So yeah, for my player, honestly, man, Saquon Barkley has looked so good. When he came into the league, he was, he was being compared to the best running backs out there. And then, the last few years, he's had several injuries that have just kind of brought him down where he's missed games or he hasn't performed as well. And Saquon Barkley, I think he's number 2 in the league with rushing. He's number 2 in the league with rushing yards. And he's just been incredible. He's doing well in fantasy too for those that play fantasy football out there. I think he's the number 1 rated running back in fantasy football. But man, it's just Saquon Barkley. It's nice to see him back. I think he could be one of the better running backs in the league if he keeps up this pace.
Yeah, for sure. I think I actually had him last year. I think there was an injury maybe last year or something. In fantasy football, I got him on the off year, which was a bummer because he's been, I think, like a top producer every other year.
Yeah.
For me, obviously you guys took 2 of the pretty good ones as far as the surprises go. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes, that was, if I didn't pick the Dolphins, it would have been the Jaguars.
How about the Jags, man? How about Lawrence looking? He just looks good. Like it's hard to describe. Like he's looked not good his entire career so far, and in these last couple of games, you're like, wait a minute. All they had to do was get him like bootlegging, and then he's just like an awesome quarterback again. The NFL is a bizarre sport.
Yeah, I mean they're doing pretty well. I mean, they shut out the Colts a couple weeks ago, 24-0
Yeah,
then they beat the Chargers 38-10. The high-flying, octane Chargers.
That was a beating.
Points.
That was an absolute beating. Nobody predicted that one, I don't think. No, it's unbelievable. Like to be honest, I didn't know enough about Jacksonville. And there's gonna be a Jacksonville fan undoubtedly that listens to this, but like I would have maybe bet that they would have only won 2 games. You know what I mean? Like for the whole year. I didn't know that they were gonna be competitive. So it was a big surprise to me. And ignorance definitely could play a large part in that. However, Lawrence just hasn't really done anything to make you believe that he's going to be the guy until these last couple of weeks. Though he's looked incredible. So
James Robinson has looked good too. His running back who didn't have too great of a year last year. He's looked really well through these first 3 games as well. So
yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Trevor Lawrence's stats right now. Last year, he played all 17 games. He had 12 touchdowns and 17 interceptions.
Yeah.
It was 59.6 completion percentage, His
12 touchdowns, man.
QBR was 39.1. Not good.
That's
Not
pretty rough.
good.
That is pretty rough.
And so far this year, he has 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. You know, when you're a quarterback and
already halfway to his touchdown mark,
you don't give up the ball. Your offense is going to stay on the field a little bit longer. And his QBR is now 71.1 through 3 games. Completion percentage is 69.4. When you're upwards of 69 and higher, it's pretty good. It's pretty good for a quarterback, especially through 3 games. So, they are surprised so far.
And not to mention, he might have the best hair in the league. Also,
his long flowing hair.
I mean, I'm talking that looks silky smooth. Like even on the football field, it looks like smooth.
Yeah,
Mr. Sunshine from
herbal essences.
Yeah, I mean, he uses the good stuff. Apparently, I don't know what it is, but it is beautiful.
Sunshine from Remember the Titans. Sunshine, sunshine.
Exactly right. Surprise player. Boy, I don't have one. Honestly, I think it's.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I don't have one.
Really.
Let's see here. Let me look at these teams here. I bet you I can put one out here.
I have one for you.
All right.
Can I throw one extra one in there?
Yeah, I'm 100% fine with that.
Cordarrelle Patterson as a running back.
Who does he play for?
Atlanta. He averages over 100 yards a game.
Cordarrelle
Patterson.
Isn't he that he was a receiver? He's like a Swiss Army knife guy that could just like play anywhere.
Yeah, Cordarrelle Patterson. He
also like returns kicks and stuff.
Yeah. He's a receiver converted running back. He's kind of doing the same thing that the guy in San Francisco is doing. I'm forgetting his name off the top of my
Samuel.
head. Yeah, Deebo Samuel, who is just an athletic freak in general, but really kind of the Swiss Army knife type thing. And he's so good. Cordarrelle Patterson's good. He's very underrated. He's great.
It's pretty impressive because those two positions are so different. Like the wide receiver and running back, like it's an outrageous difference.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, no, that is interesting though. That he's dominated Sports Center. Like,
yeah,
and it's like Cordarrelle.
Wait a second. Am I saying his name wrong? It's Cordero.
You are. It's Cordero.
Cordero Patterson. Gotcha.
Cordero.
What did I say? Cordero.
Now I'm not sure which one's right.
Corduroy.
The more you say it,
Corduroy.
It's Cordero. Cordero Patterson. It's weird seeing 84 in the backfield as well.
Numbers are messed up these days, though.
Are you allowed to have that number when you're running back?
No
That's weird.
rules, it seems like
there is literally no more rules for numbers.
Dalvin Cook is like number 4.
Micah Parsons is 11.
Yeah, like there's a receiver back there.
He's a rush end.
What's the punter doing in the backfield? No, there aren't any rules anymore. Like I don't know why that happened. All of a sudden, we've had hundreds of years of tradition, and then all of a sudden you can have whatever you want.
You're a linebacker. Tell me,
that's exactly right. 50s and maybe the 90s.
If you're in 80s, you're a wide receiver.
That's like the alternate.
Yeah, numbers. 92, James Harrison.
Yeah, I was okay with the receivers picking low numbers because, like, I don't know. I feel like that happened some time ago. Like in Cincinnati, we had AJ Green, number 18 for a long time. So that seems normal now.
Mm-hmm. Chris Henry, number 15, taking that back further than that.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that is true. See, that seems more normal. But like when you see those numbers in the backfield,
I want to see a quarterback with a number in the 90s. That should be.
No, it's gross.
That would be
gross.
Or 0. No one has 0.
You're allowed to have 0. Where's 0?
Double 0.
Where's 0?
Don't
think you can.
Get the default character number.
If you were a quarterback, which number would you want?
99.
Which number they let you have? Would you want?
99. I'll do what Chad Johnson did and change when he had to change his name to Ocho Cinco, and it cost him like millions of dollars to do so. I mean, if they're paying you millions of dollars, what's that? A couple bucks.
He sits in the stands every game now and just like hangs out with fans.
That's cool. That's really.
I think he sleeps at the stadium.
Chad, please.
Like I don't even know if he has a house. Like he just loiters around the Bengal Stadium.
That is his house.
That's his house.
No, all seriousness, no. 99 is not an option. What would you be?
Why can't it be an option? I thought there were no rules. You can't
I
say there's no rules and say there's
are
rules.
I think there are rules for quarterbacks. Can't hit him in the
think
head,
there
and they
are
can't have
rules?
number 99.
All right, I'm number 99 until you confirm there are not rules for that.
All right, well, I'm definitely not doing that, Ronnie. You going to do that?
It was your question.
Yeah, well, I'm not that committed.
I'm the host. I can't be the lookup guy.
I'm not drawing the line in the sand here. Let's be honest. I would be number 3. I think if I were to be quarterback 3. That's my number growing up, and then when I played football through junior high and high school, I was 19 when I played middle linebacker.
See, I think I would like a higher number as like an 18 or 19.
Oh man, you
like the top
QB,
of the range.
I'm looking at it right now, and QB you can only be 1 through 19.
That makes sense.
All right, I'll be 7.
What does it say for running backs? Anything?
Running backs 1 through 49 and 80 through 89.
1 through 49. I guess that does make
They
sense.
changed the rule for Cordero Patterson.
80 through 89 also? That's complete receiver numbers.
Change the entire rule.
It was changed in 2021. Was he a running back last year?
Yes, he was. Exactly.
All he needed to do was put a petition in, and they're like, I don't care. You're sure?
Does it have a specific set of numbers for linemen?
O-line is 50 through 79, and D-line is 50 through 79 and 90 through 99.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's standard, though. I feel like that's standard.
Yeah.
So there is rules. I was just
there's just not any rules for running backs, basically, and wide receivers.
No, for running backs, it's between 50 and 79 and 90 through 99. 90 through 99 is only for defensive linemen. Yeah, running back.
You said 50 through 99. I can actually contest that right away.
50 through 79 is running backs, and also 80 through 89.
50 through 79 doesn't sound like running
No,
back.
what am I talking about? No, that's what you can't have. That's what you can't have.
Okay.
You can't have that.
Okay. Thank you.
That would be weird. Running back with like number 50?
No, that's only for O-line, D-line, and linebackers.
That's interesting. And that changed in 2001. That makes sense because it feels like the floodgates of weird numbers just opened up.
2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kickers and QBs can only have 1 through 19.
Kickers should only be allowed to have like one number.
Number 3. Yeah. 3's clean.
I don't know. I think
kickers
3
should
have
makes
a weird
the most
number.
sense.
It should be like number 1. And they should only be allowed to have the 1-bar helmet because they're funny.
The 1-bar helmet.
You know what I mean? Remember those
the
days?
old what is it? Morton
Anderson?
Yeah.
The kicker for the Vikings that played until he was
over my mic.
What does that block? Like you get hit, the whole face is gonna get hit.
Or maybe was it where the ball stuck right in the mask?
Waterboy, I think.
Waterboy.
It was a Waterboy. He had one of those. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. What would you wear? Quarterback, Ron. What would you wear?
Probably 19, 18, 19. High number.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do a little bit more of a lightning style here. We got a little off track.
All right.
The biggest letdown of the year. Team first. Eric, what's your team?
Cincinnati.
Ugh.
Can I not choose Cincinnati? I'm going to choose a different team.
If you just want to punch us all in the stomach, then go ahead.
I'm not selling out. It has been a letdown, but this last week, no, biggest
kicked us right in the private area and then ran off.
Yeah. The Raiders. The Raiders.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man, they are horrible. It doesn't look like it.
They have the players that they have are better than they had last year, and they look worse. Derek Carr is like looking at Devontae Adams, and he's like, nah, not the best receiver in the league. Let me go somewhere else. It's like so many times they're showing footage of Dan Orlovsky. He has a podcast that I was listening to a few snippets of, and he was talking about how he was just reviewing Derek Carr's play, and he's just avoiding. It seems as if he's avoiding Devontae Adams. And it's just they're not utilizing Josh Jacobs, who is an incredibly talented running back. They just look bad across the board. Their defense, they signed Chandler Jones, the good linebacker that was played his whole career beforehand in Arizona. They signed him on defense, and man, they have not looked good. It's weird. I don't understand it. They're a better team, and they had a lot of drama last year with everything surrounding
which made it
the
even
car
more
accident
impressive
and
that they
Henry
made it this far.
Ruggs and all the other stuff, the firing of John Gruden.
It made it even more impressive how far they got, though. Like that they overcame that, and now, like at the beginning of this season, it just like they just can't get anything together.
They don't look good. Man, in terms of players,
No, I only said team first.
oh, team
we'll
first.
Come back. We'll come back to players so that you have time to look.
That's good because I'm not ready.
I know. Pat, what do you think for team? What team's been let down?
The team that I was going to go with was the Raiders, seeing them 0-3. I mean,
they are garbage this year.
They shouldn't be garbage. They should not be garbage. But I'm not going to go with them. I'm going to go. I'm disappointed in the Dallas Cowboys. I'm very disappointed that they're still winning with Cooper Rush throwing 70 yards. Oh, no. Sorry. He's doing okay. But I'm like, I was hoping that they, going against the Bengals, having a backup quarterback. I'm like, all right, we're gonna, Dak Prescott's not in there. Ezekiel Elliott has not been who he has been in the past. Pollard has really.
He looks way better.
He looks way better than Ezekiel Elliott. It looks like he's the young guy, and Ezekiel Elliott is on his way out. That's what it feels like.
I'm sitting at home and I can see that. You know what I mean? Like they have to know. They're like, well, this guy has all the energy in the world when he gets the ball every time.
Yeah. Tony Pollard could go anywhere else and be a starting running back. Just about anywhere else and be a starting running back.
Yeah, it's disappointing to see that they're doing really well without Dak Prescott. Like, and I think Jerry Jones was like, I'm excited about the competition. Like Cooper Rush, like I don't even know who this guy is, but he's doing really.
Yeah, I don't even know where he came from. He's like just generic. You just created a quarterback guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the name. Love the name.
Yeah.
But that's. I mean, outside of that, a lot of these teams are who we thought they were. At this point, outside of the surprising teams, I'm looking at Cooper Rush's what he did, what he's done in the past, because he's doing okay. He's been with Dallas since 2017.
Yeah, but here's a question I have for you guys. And I've thought this for a while. This is going to be like one of those things. Do you think Dak Prescott is really that good?
I do.
I think you do? Like, you think he's better than a middle of the road guy?
Like, when you say middle of the road, though, I mean, like, you
think he's top 10 quarterback?
No, he's not top 10. I'd say he's top.
I would say he's 32 teams. There's probably about middle of the road. Though.
No, I'd say he's like 12. I mean, I'm not going to be able to just go off and rank all the quarterbacks, but I would say when he stays healthy, when he is able to stay healthy, I would say.
What? No. I'm looking at his stats, and in 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019, he played all 16 games.
So let me ask you this: has he ever won a playoff game? Have they won in the playoffs? Because it seems like every year Dallas, like they pick up like high profile players and they stack players around, or whatever, and then they just don't do anything. That's the part that's confusing.
I don't know, but I mean, like going back to his healthiness in 2020, he only played 5 games, but in 2021, he played all 16 games. So really, 5 of his 6 years in the league, he's played all 16 games.
I stand corrected.
And last year, he threw 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 4,500 yards, and a rating of 104.2. So he did.
That is hard to argue with that stat line.
So,
but to play devil's advocate, I bet you Andy Dalton had one similar one of the years with the Bengals.
1 year. But looking at 2019, he had 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 99.7 rating. In 2018, he had a 96.9 rating. In 2017, he had an 86. That was a little down year. But his first year in the league, he had 23 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
His first year in the league, I remember being like, whoa.
He's an absolute stud, yeah. Yeah. He's good. He just is struggling to stay healthy. I mean, he got hurt on his contract year, and I think social media, I kind of guilted Jerry Jones and the Cowboys into giving him a really, really high paying contract.
I'm surprised they did that. I can't believe teams keep doing that with the quarterbacks
You know,
and stuff.
I'm glad that because I think when he's able to stay healthy, he's an elite quarterback. I struggle with is he inside the top 10? I struggle with that. I'd say he's like somewhere in the 8 to 12 range, but yeah, man, he's good. But
I'm looking at Dallas, and you asked if they had won a playoff game. The last playoff game they won was in 2018, and they beat the Seattle Seahawks in the first round. They lost in the divisional round against the Rams.
That's America's team.
Yeah, who decided that?
I don't know. Probably the Cowboys fans.
All right. So the Dallas Cowboys. How did we get on the topic of Dallas?
Disappointing to me.
They were your letdown because they're not as bad as you hoped.
Yes. Flip that one.
Man. How did we get to Dallas?
Yeah, I was like, how did we even get here?
We're talking good about them, but we hate them.
All right. So my letdown team, it would have been the Las Vegas Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
However,
it's still weird calling them the Las Vegas Raiders.
It really is
still weird.
I think I might have called them Oakland earlier.
You might have.
We'll let
Very
that slide
possible.
on this show. I'm going to stay in the same division though, and I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
They're 1-2. Just looking at their stats here, like their point differential is -26. Like their defense is getting pretty tore up. Got to be in the bottom 5 at least of defenses as far as points scored. And it looks like Herbert is just trying to carry this whole team. Like I don't know if you guys saw his last game, but he was hurt. He looked like he was hurt pretty bad, and he just kept playing through some kind of rib injury. He was throwing it and then trying like holding his ribs and stuff. Like it looked rough. Like, but he's out there like breaking his back for the game, and they're just still not. They look really slow. Like they just look like they're not fast. Everybody's it's crazy.
I don't know. You see Mike Williams out there. I mean, he's like 6'4", like 220 pounds. He's a big man out there. He does look slow, but man, that guy's got a huge stride. So some of it's like the eye test, like, oh, how is he faster than everyone else? Oh, it's because he has a 9-yard stride.
Yeah.
He takes a step and it's 6 yards.
Yeah. He's a big man. It was nice.
It never looks like Derrick Henry's running fast.
Speaking of disappointments.
Yeah, you're telling me. I've been eating that in fantasy every week so far. He's had one good one.
Oh, man. So if we're transitioning to disappointing players, man, Jameis Winston. I was on Jameis Winston train at the start of the year, man. And it's like everyone is good on the Saints but Jameis Winston. His reads are terrible. His throwing accuracy just seems off. It's like, man, I was so stuck on the fact that the guy threw 5,000 yards and whatever it was, like 50 touchdowns. But, man, I forgot that he threw 40 picks, and it looks like he's just going to throw 40 picks. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
He's been a gunslinger, though, his whole career.
Yeah, I was so excited to watch him and Alvin Kamara and just, Michael Thomas finally back and healthy and not getting in trouble. And then they have the big rookie from Ohio State, Chris Olave, who I'm still excited to try and watch. And, man, Jameis Winston he's not looked good. I'm about to rally for Taysom Hill to get put back in the game.
You ever see the video of him eating the W? Pat, have you ever seen this?
I don't think so.
He does this thing where he like makes a W like with his hand, and he literally like is eating the W like his hand, and he's like munching down on his own hand. It's the most bizarre video, but it is funny. But he's serious about it.
He's like, oh,
yeah, dude. He's just like he's got his whole hand in his mouth.
Yeah.
Pat, how about you? Letdown player.
I'm gonna go with Alvin Kamara.
Team.
he hasn't done anything, and it's weird because, and I don't even think he played last week.
Because Winston's throwing the football at everybody else.
So he had a rib injury. I think maybe he faked it. Maybe he faked it. He's like, I'm going to fake it until you give it to me. So
I got to fake an injury the rest of this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think he only has like 150 yards through 2 games, and this time last year he had upwards of 300. So he doesn't look like the same old. Like you're looking at the running backs that we're used to, like Ezekiel Elliott, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, even Christian McCaffrey. He's still good. But I don't think that not Tennessee, Christian McCaffrey, the Panthers. I don't think they're not utilizing him right because they have Baker Mayfield at the.
I really wanted to see Baker Mayfield have a revenge tour. I wanted to see him actually have a good season, even though I didn't really care for him when he was with the Browns. I just think they did him wrong, and I wanted him to rub it in their faces. But that doesn't appear. It turns out he's still Baker Mayfield. So
Baker Mayfield. Just looking at his stats, he has 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But his completion percentage is 51. He's not accurate.
He's not a super accurate guy.
Not accurate, and that doesn't help. He's
an athlete, man. But
when your team is not doing well and your team gets behind, you're not going to run. And then Christian McCaffrey is just sitting back there like, hey, you remember when I was good at catching the ball? Why aren't you doing that?
The ball all the time?
Why aren't you throwing the ball to me? And so it feels like McCaffrey is just a one tool guy. He's not the guy who's this year who's been used to catching the ball out of the backfield, the dump off pass and things like that. That's where they've been doing well, and just seeing them. What are they, 1-2 right now? Yeah, I think I got off track. Alvin Kamara.
It's been a weird year for running backs so far.
Yeah, it's just I think the Saints overall has been disappointing. With Jameis Winston and Alvin Kamara.
They could. They're a young team. Jameis Winston. I'm going to go ahead and say it. If I'm wrong about this, I'll admit it at the end of the year. But Jameis Winston is not the guy. I like Jameis Winston, but as far as to take you into the playoffs, deep run, I don't think so. Too dangerous. He throws too many picks.
Going back to Christian McCaffrey, he's only had 10 receptions in 3 games.
Yeah, ridiculous. He should have at least 7 a game.
At least 600.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, how many times have they thrown the ball?
Yeah. All the receivers don't go out for a pass. Christian, you go out for this pass. I'm going to give it to you regardless. Everyone else block for him. Yeah, so. What about you, Ronnie?
So my letdown team was not going to be the Saints. However, it's going to be the Arizona Cardinals.
Wait, your letdown team?
What? Are you doing 2 letdown teams?
You 2 letdown teams?
I'm sorry.
You picked the Chargers.
Kyler Murray.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
My bad. I'm looking right at the Arizona Cardinals. So his stats as far as fantasy football, I watch him every week because I have him. However, I feel like he is not getting over that hump of it's like when the game is there, not taking it. You know what I mean? And it's frustrating to watch because you watch him and he's one of the most athletic guys. Even his throws are pretty accurate, but it's just something. He's just not getting over that hump there. I was looking at his stat line; it doesn't even look horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been a letdown. I feel like I thought Arizona was going to take another step up this year. They've kind of been building a little bit of momentum with a few players, and 1 and 2, they just look really flat.
He did have an impressive comeback, though.
He did.
He did have an impressive comeback against.
If he didn't have that, they wouldn't have won
the Raiders. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
My letdown of a team. Yeah, but
yeah.
He looked good a little. But did you guys see the stat before the season started where it was they had built into his contract? They structured it was he has to study so many hours of film per week, and it just caused a ruckus is an understatement. in
It's
the
like, it's like a
NFL community.
micromanaging thing with him.
Yeah. But there's some sort of supporting stat that says like anytime there's like a double XP Call of Duty weekend or something to that effect, his stats are significantly worse than any other weekend throughout the year. So it's hard not to say like he should probably study more when you see things like that. But man, just off of sheer talent, he's incredible. He's an incredible player, and he looked really good last week. But the first 2 weeks, not so much.
I feel like it's such a letdown. He's such a good player.
I mean, the Arizona Cardinals have not scored a first quarter point this year so far, and they have played from behind at the start of the second quarter all 3 weeks. It's hard to win many games that way when you're playing from behind.
Rough,
you know,
that's rough, man.
So if they get off to a fast start this weekend, and pretty much every weekend after this, getting off to a fast start, I think they'll turn it around. Because Kyler, you know, he doesn't look like the Kyler Murray we're used to right now. He doesn't have bad stats so far. I mean, he's in the middle of the pack right now. But if you can get get over that hump, get that momentum, get that first quarter touchdown or some points.
Like all the tools are there.
They're there. They are there. It's just put it in the right way and getting off to a right start. I think that's what they need to focus on.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see as the season goes on. Because I firmly believe a lot of the things that we're saying today about teams and players, I don't think they will stay true throughout the season. Because the NFL likes to just flip-flop like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, last. We'll just do teams. And that is, they are who we thought they were.
Oh.
I'd like to go first.
Okay.
Go for
the
it.
Bills. They are who we thought they were.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they dropped one to Miami, but it was a close game that they dropped. Like, do you think they would drop it again? I don't think so.
Yeah.
They look like the best team, and it looks like it's really not that close. I think they would be favorites against anybody. What do you think, Pat? Who do you got?
I'm might get some hate on this, but I'm gonna say the Jets.
Because they're not good.
They're not good. They are who they are. There's a lot of talk in the offseason. I'm like, man, you can put a lot of things on paper. I know it's like, oh, there's a lot of things on paper, but when you put it on the field, yeah, that's the Jets. That's what they've been doing. They're 1-2. They have a horrible point differential. They are, and when they immediately lost one of their defensive linemen out for the year before the start of the season, I'm like, well, yeah, that's the Jets. I mean, could you tell me who their running back is?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just because he's a brand new rookie. That's the only reason I know.
Michael Carter.
Yeah.
Because you watch their backfield. That must suck.
Shut up, man.
Yeah. I mean, they beat the Browns, but they beat the Browns.
Are the Browns good?
I mean, no, they're not. They're not good. I don't think they're.
They're winning the AFC North. They're in.
Well, let me walk it back to what Ronnie just said. The universe is going to correct itself. You know, that's the Browns aren't going to be up there.
The Browns are in the same category as the Jets, where they're like, no, they're the Browns.
I know
they're going to be the Browns eventually. That's what they do.
You know,
it always goes back. I
would be very surprised if it is a race in the AFC North and the Browns are in it. You know, I could be totally wrong. You know, and the Browns could continue on the track they are. You know, but I don't think so. I think the universe is going to correct itself. I think the Steelers beat the Bengals in week 1, but man, since then they don't look good.
The Bengals were
they didn't look good week 1.
They barely beat the Bengals.
The defense looked really good against us.
They did.
They looked really good because we felt like our O-line was put together with the glue and duct tape, and no one knew how to play with each other.
Watt was having a tea party in the backfield with Burrow in week 1.
All of them.
Every play.
Yes. Yeah. But no, yeah. So I don't even know who my team was. What did I say?
The Jets.
Jets. Yeah, that's right. That's like 19 teams in that one.
This show is just about getting sidetracked. I think next week, by the way, we should each bring one player that we want to do a deep dive into, just an interesting player and deep dive a stat.
I like it.
Just the stats.
Mm-hmm.
I like Pat's method of just talking about one thing, then just sailing off into something else.
That's what ADD does to you.
Oh man, you're preaching to the choir there.
You accidentally get a lot of stuff done. Yeah.
Whoops. I tripped into a good point. You know who hasn't surprised me at all this year? The Falcons. They suck. Marcus Mariota. Are we supposed to be picking good teams? I mean, like,
they are who we thought they were.
Yeah, I mean, they are who we thought they were. I mean, I wish that they would just put Desmond Ridder in so we don't have to watch Marcus Mariota, who didn't do great.
Are you just saying this because you're a homer and you're upset?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Do you want me to lie?
No, I want you to tell the truth.
Marcus Mariota, I mean, being serious though, Marcus Mariota, he didn't have he had a good season or two in Tennessee and then really didn't do anything since. He didn't even really reach the field in Las Vegas. And he's getting an opportunity, and there's part of me wants to see him do well. The other 95% of me just wants to see them put in.
He's just a bridge.
Desmond Ridder.
Atlanta's not going to hang their hat on Marcus Mariota for very long.
Yeah,
I don't think any team would. Unfortunately, I think he's an amazing athlete, and he did have a couple of good years. I just don't think that he's the guy that's going to.
You think they're going to sit Mariota over Desmond Ridder?
Yeah,
I think eventually.
Think so?
I think if they keep losing midway through the season, I think the switch will happen probably.
Oh man, I think
Mariota just means nothing to them.
Atlanta is a
crappy team.
So do you think they're trying to tank though? Like
they're a product of loyalty, and I mean that they just are. They had
Matty Ice.
Matt Ryan was
his comeback win, by the way,
an
awesome.
MVP. Had an MVP season, and they stuck with him for multiple years, and he never got back to that. They waited a long time for him to get back to that, and then they traded him. And now they have Marcus Mariota, who they're paying, and there's no way that they're going to sit him for Desmond Ridder before Week 15.
Week 5.
Week 15.
This is a good one. Put it on the scroll. We'll have to come back to this.
Yeah. Are you marking it down?
Week 5. I'm supposed to be the marking guy.
You are. I mean,
put it on the board.
If you ask Pat,
it's on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Then
put it on the whiteboard,
so
we never go back to it again. Yeah, the Falcons.
You want to make it interesting? Gentleman's bet for $1.
$1. Screw that.
A gentleman's bet is actually no dollars, but $1 seems funnier.
Fair. All right.
No,
let's do a gentleman's bet. The over-under when Desmond Ridder. The over-under when Desmond Ridder plays.
What's the over-under?
You got Week 5, and Pat, you have 15. I say we just do a closest to.
Okay.
And if he never goes in, then Pat obviously wins.
Well, it's fair. Okay.
All right. I will take that. Are we doing $1?
What do you want to do? You want to do a Benjamin? What are we talking?
Benjamin.
I didn't want to go heavy, but we can. We can go.
I have a baby. What are you get out of here?
Hold on. Are you betting your baby? I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no, you can't bet your baby in this.
No,
I don't. We only take money. Baby. There's no way I want to win that.
Yeah, it's going to cost way more.
Kids.
That's going to cost us way more.
I know. What the heck? How did I win?
It's all about the Benjamins.
No,
baby.
let's do $20.
Oh, a 20 spot.
Oh God. All right.
$20 bill. How good do you feel about it? You can't back out now right in front of everybody.
Yeah, that's just not how I do things anyways.
You can't do it now. You got to go down with the ship.
I feel like you know me well enough to know that I'm just going to go down with the ship.
All right. I'm going to rely on someone else to remember this bet because I'm not going to.
We're going to have to keep track. I'm going to write it on a post.
Put it on the board.
Hopefully that stays on my computer this whole time.
I think we should have bets every week. Every time we do this, we have to have a bet.
Let me ask you guys while we're kind of between this and whatnot. players that we're worried about. Just a real quick game in terms of players that we're worried about. I want to continue that conversation. Like, are you worried about Jonathan Taylor, for example?
Yeah, because he doesn't have a quarterback.
You have given up on Matty Ice.
It's not. It feels like the Colts have just been bridging the gap to a quarterback that's never come. Like they've had a young, like it's almost like a team that has a young quarterback, and they keep getting veterans to come in, but there's never any young quarterback at the end of this.
Yeah,
like I don't think Matty Ice demands respect from a defense enough that it would help out his running back.
Fair.
I don't think they have to be afraid of him.
Fair. So Pat, you had mentioned earlier that you were worried about Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Are you
No, he was disappointment so far.
Disappointment?
Yeah.
Are you worried about Joe Mixon, or you think he's coming back?
No, I don't think so, because the Bengals are a team that likes to balance an offense. So I don't think that Mixon, once they start getting the lead and getting ahead, he'll be in there. I mean, you saw him in the last game; he was in there a little bit more. It's just hard for him when they're behind. I mean, right out of the gate, last week, they scored. So when you're ahead, you have a little bit. You allow the offense to open up a little bit more. So I'm not too worried about him right now.
I'll tell you what, at the end of that Jets game, they ran over the Jets down the whole field. They just kept running the ball, and they just ran them over.
But it was some JP
was
Ryan.
The offensive line I was hoping for.
It was some JP Ryan.
It was P. Ryan. Yeah, he looked like the man. He didn't even – I mean, he had 9 yards every time before he got touched.
Yeah. So switching up a little bit, and then just –
Did you just start hosting the show out of nowhere? Is that what's going on? You're just coming up with questions?
No, there's names out there that I just
questioning my authority.
Yeah.
Russell
but no,
Wilson.
Joe Mixon so far. I mean, he hasn't done statistically wise. He hasn't done well, but I think that was a product of the game. Strategy and momentum and playing from behind.
My unpopular opinion is that Joe Mixon is a good running back, but he's not a great running back.
I would say that's unpopular. I think he's a great running back.
Why?
Just because he's very patient. He waits for plays to develop.
I would say that he sometimes waits too long, and he just needs to start hitting holes.
I agree, because it's exciting.
I feel like he loses yards.
It's exciting to watch those running backs just hit a hole and don't look back.
It really is.
You know what I mean? I mean, I definitely get what you're saying there, but he's great.
Yeah. I mean, last season he had 16 touchdowns, 1,300 yards. So I mean, it was.
That's just rushing.
1,200 yards rushing last year and 300 yards receiving last year. But that's what happens when you're playing ahead. When they have to respect
the pass,
right? Yeah.
Opens them
so
up, yeah.
once Joe Burrow gets into a groove like he was in last game, and just like with any quarterback on any team, once you get into a groove, that opens up the running game. And I don't think they respect Baker Mayfield. That's why Christian McCaffrey hasn't done really well in the backfield for dumping off passes.
Yeah, it's very rare that a running back is really good, even when the quarterback is not good. Like Adrian Peterson. Like, that just shows you how good Adrian Peterson was all those years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like running backs like that.
Yeah.
And the guy was a freak. I mean, he tore his ACL and came back and ran for 2,000.
How long was he out? For 4 months, when an ACL injury should be like a year?
Yeah.
That guy's wild.
That's the stuff that makes you question.
Side note,
stuff that makes you question things.
He did get knocked out by Le'Veon Bell a couple weeks ago, though. I don't know if you guys saw that exhibition match.
I did see that there was one. I did not see the thing.
It was a good boxing match. I watched a little bit of it here and there. But man, he Le'Veon Bell rung his bell. No pun intended. He rung it. And man, Le'Veon Bell was in better shape for this boxing match than he was for half of the seasons he played football. I didn't understand it, but it was entertaining to watch.
I like celebrity exhibition boxing matches. Honestly, I'm all about that.
Too. I do too. They're more interesting, honestly, than real boxing.
Yeah, real boxing is not. I can't get behind it. I like the UFC, but real boxing just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, I think since we're talking about boxing, that probably means that we're out of stuff. We're out of material.
I have one more player.
Oh, dude.
I think I talked about him before, but Justin Fields for the Bears.
Yeah, Josh Fields.
Did I say Justin again? My goodness, man.
No, you got it right that time. He's just messing with you.
Oh, what? Oh, okay. Justin Fields. I got it right this time. I was like, man, you're making me question who this guy is anymore because he is a known name right now
that was a
for
jerk
the Bears.
Because you know he was unsure about
it. This guy's throwing under 100 yards and he's getting wins. Like, what?
So what it looks like every time I see him play is it looks like somebody who's not a developed passer at all. It looks really rough. It looks like a college football game every time I watch him. He's always on the run. I don't know. I honestly
stats here.
I'd like to say that I don't know that I don't think that he's going to be that good, or at least not take his team deep into the playoffs or something. But man, have I been wrong before? Trevor Lawrence all of a sudden is just, he looks awesome. What happened?
His completions in the first game, 8 completions for a quarterback.
I know, dude. That's a ridiculous number.
and that's his season high. 8 completions. His lowest is 7 completions.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think that you could get 3 completions in an NFL game?
No. I don't think one. I don't think so.
I don't know. You'd have to make it like a perfect throw.
If I threw it 17 times, so he threw it, the highest he's thrown is 17 attempts in a game. Could I get 1 completion in 17 attempts?
Like the 1920s.
I think I could. I'd be like, hey, tight end, can just you run a drag route? I'm just gonna throw it to you.
Just cross.
Could I do that? Probably not. I mean, I'm 6'2", and the linemen are 6'6", and their wingspan is an 8-foot tall guy. Could I get it over them? Probably not.
Yeah.
I would be like a chicken with his head cut off. I'd be running around trying to figure out how to get out of this.
Honestly, the first time I got pressured, I'm like, I'm out of here.
Just fetal position.
Yeah, I'm out of here. I'm faking an injury out right away.
Yeah. I think I could.
You think you could?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It'd be even harder for you because you're only 5 feet tall.
Yeah. And I'm 5 feet tall, and it's just, the NFL is the NFL when it comes down to it. But you got to, realistically speaking, you have the what is it, the shuttle pass? The one that's right,
the shovel.
Yeah.
To the tight end.
Shovel passes.
You dink it right in front of you, and that's a completion.
Well, I'm pretty sure I hit a screen.
You throw it to your running back, and that's a completion. And who knows? Depending on the type of coverage, you just throw the ball over the lineman and hope that there's a receiver there for a slant or a drag.
Now, if I had the superpowers of Tecmo Bowl, where the farther you go back, the farther you throw, maybe I would have a chance.
Good old Tecmo Bowl.
My shotgun would be as far as a punter stands. That's how far my shotgun would be. And I would just have a running back right in front of me. I'd throw it to him. Completion.
And we spiraled out of control.
That's all.
Just used to run around in circles and just get the whole team to chase you and then score the touchdown.
Yeah, I'm not that fast either.
Yeah, it's true. Ronnie,
what else we got?
Ronnie's fast. Surprise.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably dwindling with age.
All right, that's it then.
I was fast back then. It's
back
now
in your
I'm
heyday.
I'm fatter and older, and it's over. All right. Yeah, I think that's all we got. Eric, you want to add anything else? Pat?
Nope, I'm out of here.
Anybody?
That's it
Football?
for me.
Football.
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 All right.
Football.
All right. Well, for everyone at home, we appreciate you, and we'll see you later.
Who dey?